Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Snows, your host for Boot Sequence, and you might be asking, why do I have scissors? Well, hold on a second. That's why. I just cut off my hair. Roll the intro. Back in February, SpaceX launched Microsat 2A and 2B, which were later renamed Tintin A and Tintin B. These low-orbiting satellites will give us insight as to what this giant constellation of SpaceX satellites will look like. Starlink, which is the name of that constellation, wants to bring internet everywhere in the world with over 4,000 satellites in lower Earth orbit and another 7,000 about 200 miles above that. Why am I telling you this? Well, because they've been testing the pair of Tintins and Elon Musk gave us an update. According to him, they're doing pretty good and their link to ground with phased array, whatever that means, at high bandwidth is around 25 milliseconds. That's the latency. Good enough to play fast response video games. The satellites move so fast that in terms of testing, they've only been able to test about 10 minutes a day, but with 12,000 satellites planned to be in space, it's clear that the runtime won't be an issue. The thing with satellite-based internet is that it's not only affected by weather like clouds or storms, but the antennas that need to be used on the ground will have to learn to constantly switch from one satellite to the other. And no, your phone never sends data to satellites in space. It only receives from GPS system, unless you have a sat phone. In this case, you can communicate with it, of course. Anyways, this whole thing is pretty cool in my opinion, and even though both Tintins are meant to only last 1 year, I hope they succeed so we can get the first worldwide internet provider. That would be pretty cool in my opinion. Moving on, Samsung's 2018 line of QLED TVs are having an update rolled out that will enable FreeSync. Pretty cool, right? With the Xbox One now supporting variable refresh rate via FreeSync or FreeSync 2, it seems that you won't need an NVIDIA approved big format gaming display to have a tear-free experience. There are some compromises though. With the first update, FreeSync will only work in 1080p, and the company notes that you might have weird stuff happen with the brightness at times, although the fact that it was enabled by a software update means that a 4K option might be coming in the future. Would you sacrifice resolution on your 4K TV to get a smoother gaming experience? Personally, I don't think I would. I don't mind lowering the settings, but switching resolution always causes some weird issues on my PC. Whether I'm streaming or doing something else, it always messes up with my scaling. Speaking of display, we have LG and Google that have teamed up to bring us a prototype for the most high-res display for VR. The display is a 4.3-inch OLED that runs at 120 Hz with a resolution of 4800 by 3840. That's 18 megapixels and it's only for one eye. Now you might think it's never gonna run on any PC. Well, first, it's a prototype, so I don't think it's gonna come to market anytime soon. But the two companies are also focused on ways to help the GPUs drive the display by breaking the image into different quality levels, sort of like our brain does. When you look at an object, the surrounding isn't as clear as what you're focused on. I wonder how they're going to address the fact that the eyes move, even in VR. Will there be an eye tracker ready to change the quality levels of whatever you're focused on? Or is it just going to be like any VR and just have the whole screen crispy, or just the middle of the screen will be crispy, which will sort of cause issues when you look around? I mean, I still think that higher resolution is definitely the answer, but I just wonder how they're going to tackle these issues. Speaking of cool tech, CryoRig just unveiled an M.2 SSD cooler with a heat pipe. The Frostbit cooler looks like a pretty cool accessory to dress up your M.2 slot, but in my opinion, it's nothing more. The reason I'm saying that is because a lot of M.2 SSDs don't have a problem with overheating. They basically heat up, yes, and they start to throttle, but it doesn't affect their quality of life. I mean, unless you have a very specific workload, I don't think that you're gonna need an SSD cooler, an NVMe M.2 SSD cooler. And the fact that some NVMEs do have memory modules on both sides mean that one side is going to be left hot, and that's not necessarily a good thing either. Alright, let's move on to some gaming news. We don't have much, but it's pretty cool. A new vehicle seems to be close for PUBG. Player Unknown himself tweeted a 3D model of the upcoming Tuk Tuk. With no textures or colors, it looks pretty dull. But add 100 other players on the upcoming Sanhok map, and you might want to find one pretty quickly. Do you still play PUBG? I mean, I only played the mobile version and the mobile port on PC because they're free and I'm too cheap to buy video games, but I'm still curious if you would go back to the game just to try the Tuk Tuk out. And now to answer a question from you guys that a lot of you asked. Where do I work besides Boot Sequence and Snow's Tech, which is my personal channel? Unfortunately, I'd like to keep that private. I'm really sorry, but this question came a lot, so I just wanted to address it right away. Here's another one. Pets, and which animals are your favorite? Well, I have two tiny dogs named Xena and Pika. As for my favorite pet, I'd say cheetahs are probably my favorite. But Xena and Pika are definitely two little monsters. And that's pretty much it for the video, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Don't forget to stay frosty, but make sure that you click right here to see the latest video. We've got big things coming. For the latest video, and right here to subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Now I just have to wait a little bit. Let's talk about what I have on my desk. I mean, I have a LiPo battery, which I do projects with. Anyways, stay frosty.